So the ORB strategy is pretty popular and a lot of beginner traders are starting to use it, but they're realizing that it's not as easy as it sounds. So we're going to dive into exactly why that is the case. We're going to give you some recommendations and we're going to give you a nice analysis of what the market is doing right now. So we're going to hop straight into it. We got the SPY in front of us. This is the 4-hour chart and you see a bunch of squiggly looking candles, and we're going to break this down using our nice little marker and starting with this area because this is what we covered in our last video. All right, before the Trump announcement, we gave you reasons for why the market could go up and also why the market could go down, and honestly it gave us more signs that the market could go up. So we're going to break down exactly why is that the case. So looking at this area here, we broke down that we had a kind of a conflict, right? This is a situation, specifically a supply situation, and at the bottom is a demand. So these are zones that is causing the price to move up and down in a range. Once we break this range, right, hinting at opening range breakout, then we could expect the market to continue pushing up. All right, so this move here was that Trump announcement. The market went straight up overnight and then it pulled back and then continued to move up. All right, now in the video we had these higher lows being formed, which if you understand beginning level trading, that is a sign of an uptrend. Also notice how we were below this 50 EMA, the yellow line, the entire time. Right, lower highs, and eventually we got above this 50 EMA, which was the sign, well, second sign of the uptrend. And one last thing to mention is that we have been in this downtrend for some time, meaning that the market has been getting pretty exhausted, right, towards the downside and preparing for that move to the upside. Now you can see at the bottom we have one touch at the same level, two touches at the same level, and that is the double bottom pattern, which is a signal that the market could also move up. All right, now there's a couple other things that I do see and I share that with my premium community, and if you guys want to know what those aka secret indicators are, then you could join and get a hold of all of them. So that is that on the 4-hour chart. We're going to move to the 5. I want to go to the 15, but the 5 is going to get straight to the point with the ORB strategy. So this specific area is where we see the strategy happening, and we're going to zoom on in to exactly what is going on. But before we do, I know I'm taking you guys all over the place, but I just want to showcase what happened after that Trump announcement. We went up, pretty much moved sideways for a day and a half before the market decided to push up again. Now in my Discord community, we did mention we have a demand zone right here, which I drew for the team. And why is that a demand zone? Because we had to push up, pulled back to this area, and then that started our next push. So in this low, that's where I would zoom in to find that demand zone area and just drag it across. Now you can see how the market respected it. Here could make some money on the bounce, here could have made some money on the bounce, and then also you have a few other times before we had the ultimate push up. So the demand zone is a nice level that you could use, and I teach that in my course. And then we also have the moving average, which we're going to zoom in to today's action and take a look at what happened. So first thing in the morning, market pushed up to this resistance level. You guys are probably wondering where I got this from. So I'm going to zoom out to the 4-hour to let you know exactly where that came from, so you guys are not confused. All right, so this is that level, and that level came from right here. All right, that is a low that the market made. So if we just look at the history of the price, notice it came down and then it went up. Right, so this level here is something that I marked off because it could be used again in the future. You could see how it bounced there again, and then it bounced a few other times before making this downtrend. All right. Now, when we came back up, what usually likes to happen is the market would come back down to that same level to hold it as support before continuing the uptrend. So that gives us context for what we're seeing on this 5-minute chart. And this is that same level you can see there. So the market opened up right here and shot straight up to this level we found from the 4-hour. Now, because this is the opening range high, you could just draw that as your resistance. We got the low right here. That could be your support, which forms our opening range. And as long as the price stays between this range, we're not looking to take any trades. Now, being that we have a bias towards the upside from our overall analysis, we are waiting for the price to break this resistance and then hold this resistance as support before moving on up. So let's see what happened. You could see how the price broke that resistance with this candle. Then it pulled back down to this level as support before moving on up. But what made it even better is that we not only have one level the market is holding as support, we also have two levels, because this 9 EMA, aka the blue line, is in the same spot as this previous resistance, now holding as support. And it's kind of like one sheetrock being your wall, but if you put two sheetrocks together, then that wall is a lot stronger, right? So this is a tough level for the price to get under, because we not only have one level holding it up, but we also have this moving average in the same exact spot. So that's what we call confluence, and confluence is going to help us spot greater opportunities, stronger opportunities, and it's going to help increase our win rate if we are able to stick to high probability setups. If the price wanted to come down, it's going to be a hard time for it to do so, because you have two levels keeping it intact. So what happened from there? You could notice we have this increase in volume at the bottom, and that is what also helped the price have momentum to push on up. And from there, that was a huge push. We went from 676 all the way up to 680. And if you consider that every $1 move is maybe 10 to 20% on your money, depending on which option you take. If you move up from 676 to 680, that's about $4. So you're looking at a 40 to 80% or more return on your money within less than an hour. So that's some pretty good money in my opinion, and that's why trading is unmatched. So that's the analysis from today. We're going to take a look at some stocks like Meta. We have one of our members who called out Meta going off, and that made me take a look. And this was at about 12:30 yesterday when Meta was going off, right? It was at about 6:23, and I decided to look at the 4-hour chart, and I found this level. All right, this level was at 625 and some change. So I told the team we still have room to reach that level, so just keep an eye out for that. But once it hits that level, we could see some downside, right? Because that's what resistance levels do. When the price gets to a ceiling, we naturally like to come down. It doesn't mean the market is going to stay down, but that's the reaction that we could expect. So what happened after that, you could see the price reached that 625 level and had that reaction to the downside. So when you see something like this, you could grab some puts and make some good money. So not only can you make money towards the downside, but you can make money towards the upside, because I told the team that we have a fib level. This is the 50% fib level. And let me just draw that a little bit better for you. You can see this is the low, that's the high, and the 50% level of this move on up is right here. So that's why I decided to tell the team, hey, Meta can reverse here at the 50% retracement. And what happened, you see that move up from Meta from that level we just pointed out. And then we had an even bigger move when we woke up this morning into the afternoon. All right, so that just shows you there's many different ways to spot high probability levels, but you got to be prepared to know how to use them. So Prince says that he wrote a put down from that Meta call out, and he says that when the price moves up so fast, it has no structure. So you know the price is going to fall apart once it hits resistance. So that was a pretty good observation. Whenever you do see big moves up, notice there is no highs or lows created as it went up. So if the price does go down, it's more likely to have a straight move down because there's no structure along the way to stop the price from going down. All right, so that's a high level observation, and we're gonna observe some more stocks as we go along. We got Tesla, big move down, then an even bigger move up this morning. PLTR is continuing to move down. You also have HIMS moving sideways, Circle moving down. All right, we got Amazon with a big move up, Nvidia making a move to the upside, and also Google with a big move down at first, but then reverse to the upside. So far we're seeing a lot of bullish movements, seeing a few fake outs in the morning, which is pretty bullish when you see that price make a comeback later on in the day. All right, so these are bullish reactions that we are seeing. You got Coinbase moving down, Apple's pretty much sideways with a slight uptrend, and Microsoft and ABGO are somewhat sideways. You got oil with a slight pullback today, gold moving up and down, same thing with silver, and MicroStrategy, similar situation. So that's just a few of the main stocks that I like to watch, and then I have my main watch list with a whole lot more stocks, probably about 80 or more stocks that we can analyze, but that's what we do in the community. So if you guys want to join, just hit the link in the bio. And we got a class coming up next week, so stay tuned for that, where I'm going to explain my strategies. So I think that's it for today. If you guys like what you see, then subscribe, because we got some more gems on the way. Like the video. Put a comment down below on what's one thing that you took away from this video. Throw any questions, any recommendations for any videos you want me to make. But I hope you guys found value in this video where we talked about the opening range breakout, gave you guys a nice analysis on the SPY, how we broke down Meta trades to the upside and the downside, and a few stocks. So yeah, a lot more gems on the way. And I'll just catch you guys either on Instagram, in the Discord, or in our next video. So stay blessed, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.